Hi, I'm Kieran. I'm the Logistics Manager here at CrowdComms, and today I'm going to be taking you through the wonderful world of printers and printing on site. So, here we've got Epson TM C3500. So this is the standard colour printer that we use, and we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing video of it. So, don't need these bits of cardboard. First thing we've got inside here, we've got a box of goodies. We've got some ink, got some instructions. I don't know about you, I don't ever read instructions, so we'll ignore them. Don't need the disc. Got a maintenance box, a load of cables, and we don't need anything else that's inside this box here. So I'll put that to one side. Carrying on through the box, we've got the main item. We have the printer. So undo all of the wrapping. Again, don't need that. And then we've got a load of bit of tape all over the printer, so we're just going to go through. We're going to take off all the bits of tape, more instructions. This here is just for the ink door, so this is where you put the ink in. Got another bit of tape here. This is just on the maintenance box door, so that's where the maintenance box goes. And in here, a little bit more tape. Just going to take everything off. Okay, so plugging it in, we're at the back of the printer now. The only thing that this printer hasn't come with is a kettle lead. So you'll just need a standard plug with a kettle lead on the end. First of the cables here, so this is the printer power supply. So this is what that kettle lead's going to plug into. So we'll do that a little bit first. And then the printer power supply, let's take this off, just plugs in on the printer into the 42 volt bit just in the middle, and it should click into place. The other cable that you've got is a printer USB cable, and that one plugs into the side. And then plug the power supply into your wall socket. So now going back to the front. So now we're going to load the ink. So open the ink drawer, and they're all colour marked. So loading the inks. Each ink comes in an individual package. So we're just going to start at the bottom. It's worth giving them a couple of shakes. So next we got the magenta. The cyan. And the black. That's the ink all loaded. So moving across to the other side, we've then got the maintenance box. So this is where all the excess ink is going to go into. So as the inks drain down, this is going to fill up. Something to note when you do come to changing the maintenance box, it is going to be full of ink. And that, we want the text up and facing towards this side of the printer. Just slots in until it clicks. And that is everything loaded inside the printer. Okay, so now we're going to install the printer drivers onto the laptop. So if we go onto Google Chrome and then I'm just going to search for Epson TM C3500 printer driver. So from here, we're going to click onto this link, so www.epson.co.uk, and then when we scroll down, there is a link. The following can be downloaded from here, which takes us onto this page. So we need the Windows printer driver, and then we want this version 2.6. Go onto the download page. There's a box that we need to click accept, and then I'm going to download the 64-bit. So I'm now going to switch the printer on as well, just so that once we are downloading the driver, they do recognize each other. So we're going to allow changes, and then click OK, accept, and then it takes about 2 minutes to install everything and to recognize the printer, and you'll know it's done because this box here is going to disappear. So at this point we're also going to plug in the printer USB into the laptop, because it's not going to find a printer without that. And it's come up here saying that the setup's completed. So now if we go into the Windows printer settings, devices, printers and scanners, you should see that there's an Epson TM C3500 version 2. Now, depending on how many printers you've actually connected to this device, sometimes it comes up just as that, sometimes it comes up as copy 1, copy 2, but basically when you click into it, click manage, you should get a little idle on the printer status. So from here we're going to go into printer preferences, and for now we're going to ignore all of these settings. We just want to go through to the printer utilities and the printer setting utility. Allow that. Now the reason we're doing this is because currently the printer is set up for roll paper. As you can see on the media source, we want to change it to fanfold paper. So basically what that means, and I've got a fanfold badge just here. This is what I mean by fanfold. So it's just how the paper is going to load. And just so that we can get ahead of ourselves, this paper's also got a black mark. So on the media detection settings, I'm also going to change that to continuous paper black mark, and then apply the settings. So the black mark is just where the printer's actually going to cut. So we've got a couple of different options. We've got this and we've got gap. Now, what you can see, it's popped up with a little to-do list. So this is just a guide which helps the fanfold paper come through. Now to find this guide, it's actually in the back door. If I turn the print around a little bit, it's actually just inside the back door here. And the way it attaches, so we're going to open the front printer drawer, and there's a little slot just down the bottom here, and we're going to just feed it in, and it just clicks in place, and then that is going to help guide the paper in when we load it. So I've closed that up, I've done that, I'm going to click OK on the screen. And what you now need to do for it to actually change into fanfold, because currently on the screen it actually has an R on here, we need that to change to an F. So we're just going to switch the printer off, and then when we switch it back on, we can actually see there is now an F on the screen telling us that it is in fanfold mode. Okay, so now that we've got the detection set up for black mark, there's a couple more things we need to change. So we'll close out of here. So we're going to start to actually set up the badge itself. First thing, now at the moment, this is currently set up for our American friends. It is working in inches. Over in the UK, we prefer to work in millimeters. So I'm going to go into the driver preferences. This is on driver utilities, and I'm going to change it from inches to millimeters. This is preference. We just find it a lot easier to work in millimeters. Now that we've done that, we're going to go into the general settings. and we can see under media name there's a drop down. Now at the moment there's nothing set up in here, or nothing that we've set up in here. So to start creating badges, we're going to go into media definition and create new. Now this badge stock that we've got here, this we call our eco badge stock. So it's fully recyclable. So I'm going to call this eco, and the media width, so that is 96.5 millimeters. This is why I find it a lot easier to work in millimeters. I don't want to be working in eighths of an inch. The media length, so again for this, although the badge itself folded in half is a lot shorter, we need to print it out double-sided, so we need this full width of the badge, full length of the badge, so that's 268 millimeters. The media form, it's got a black mark, so that's going to how it's going to know to cut, so we're going to change it to continuous paper black mark. And we're going to leave all these settings the same, so it's matte paper, we want it to print out quickly, so we have it on speed setting, and we want it to cut every single badge, so we're going to keep it on auto cut. So we're going to click OK and close out of this. Then go into the media name, the drop down, we can now see the ecos come up, and then by clicking OK, that has now sent it over to the printer so that it knows how long the badge is that we're going to load. Now, loading the paper. This is again from the back of the unit. A couple of things you need to make sure when you're loading the paper. You've got a black mark which needs to be at the front of the badge. Now, one of the things that we find on site when people, the badge isn't printing correctly, it's actually because they've loaded the paper the wrong way around. So they've loaded it so that the black mark is actually at the end of the badge. Now the printer cuts at the first point of the black mark it comes to. I will go into this in a little bit more detail later in the video, but if we've got it this way around, it's actually going to chop the bottom 5 millimeters of the badge off. So we need to make sure that actually the black mark is the first part that we're loading into the printer. The black mark also goes down into the printer because the sensor's on the bottom. Now, what you'll also find at the back of the printer, you've got these guides just here. If you lift up this blue handle, you want to make sure that the guides are nice and snug, about a millimeter either side, just so that there is a little bit of movement of the badge paper and it's not going to get stuck or grabbed going through. Once we've got it in the right place, push the handle down, it locks it into place. Now we feed the badge paper in. For the first time that we do this, what the printer's now going to do is it's going to charge all of the ink. So all of the ink that we put in there, or about half the cartridge of each cartridge, is going to charge through into the maintenance box, just because this is the first use. This doesn't happen every time that you put new ink in, it's just because it's the first time we use the printer. That's one of the reasons why the printer itself actually does come with a cartridge of each colour. What I would advise, immediately as soon as you buy the printer, also buy lots of spare ink. So ink charging, it's going to take around 4 minutes. While we do that, just going to twist the printer back round. And now's a good time to go off, get a cup of tea, do something else, because this is going to be charging for quite a while. So we'll come back once it has charged. So it's now charged the ink. We're actually just below half ink now. So what I now want to do is just make sure that it is cutting in the right place. So to do that, I'm just going to press feed once. It's going to push through a whole badge, and then I'm going to press cut. And what we should see is no black line at the top of this bit, and that it is a full badge which is printed out, which this is. So now we're ready to do an actual test print. So here's one I prepared earlier. I'm going to press print design, individual badge, find myself. Now make sure that we've got the correct printer in the destination. So it's the copy one that we want. And then click print. So it's now going to print the badge out, and we had it set up to cut, so it has even cut the badge for us. There we go, a successful print. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a couple of the common problems that you might find on site and the fixes that you then do to sort them out. So with this one, I've printed a badge, it's coming out. And when I go to fold it, you can actually see that it's not lined up properly. So the reason for this is we've actually got the paper loaded the wrong way around. So this is what I was saying about earlier. So the black mark actually has been the first part of the badge to come through, which is why, as it's then cut the next badge, and to show you this, I'll actually do a feeding cut. Now what you can actually see is you've got the black mark of the last badge on top of this one. So the fix for this, really straightforward. We're going to open the front door, pull the paper out the back, and we just need to rotate 180 degrees and then twist it round so that the black mark is again the first part that goes in. So I'm going to load the badge paper back in, it's going to grab it and pull it through. And immediately we're going to know that this is fixed without even needing to print a badge, because once it's stopped initializing, I'm going to cut the badge and it folds in half, and we can see that actually that is a complete badge. It's not chopped anything off or added a black mark on from the previous badge. So that's that fix. Okay, so the next issue that you might come across is that you print a badge. So I'm just going to print another badge out. And immediately after it, it's followed by a completely blank badge. Now, this is something that can happen when these get shaken around in transit. It does affect the sensor and where it picks up. So it's printed out this blank badge afterwards, which obviously we don't want. That's going to use double the amount of badge stock, and if an attendee comes up, they're not going to know what to do with this bit here. So there's a simple fix to that. We're going to go into the printer settings, printing preferences, and we're going to click in the media definition, click on our eco badge, edit it. Now the media length we're going to reduce by 0.5 millimeter. So again, this is why it's a lot easier to work in millimeters and not inches. So we're just going to change that to 267 millimeters, 0.5. So we've just reduced it by 0.5 of a millimeter, so a tiny amount. Now when we go in and save all these settings, I'll print another badge. So print my badge out again. What we should find is now, again, it's printed just one badge. This one can be a little bit of trial and error. If you go to print it again and it's still printing out that second blank badge, keep reducing by 0.5 of a millimeter. So 267, 266.5, just keep reducing it until you are getting the right amount. But that 0.5 of a millimeter, it's such a small amount that it doesn't actually affect the badge at all. You won't get a white strip on the bottom. Okay, so the next potential error that you might come across is a media form error. So this, at the moment, we haven't actually got any paper loaded in to the printer. So we're going to load it in now. And what's actually going to happen, the printer is not detecting where that black stop mark is. So it's just going to spit loads of paper out. It's going to flash up with a media form error on here, and this light is going to flash orange. Now, this might have happened because maybe you were using a different stock with a different detection. So maybe instead of being black mark detection, it was gap detection. Maybe you've had a Windows update and it's just affected the printer settings. Quick and easy fix. The first thing that we need to do is take all the paper back out. First of all, it's a waste of paper. And then we want to shut the printer drawer. Basically, any change that we need to make in the printer settings, we want this big light to be green. If it's orange, it won't let you change anything. So from here, jumping back onto the laptop, we're going to go into the printer preferences, printer utility settings, and the printer setting utility. Now, the printer setting utility, that is actually the settings that are on the internal computer in here. So as we can see, the media detection setting is currently set to die cut label gap. So we just need to change it to continuous paper black mark. Click apply settings. Now it's at this stage that if you've got something flashing orange on here, the big light flashing orange, it will throw up an error on the screen and it won't let you change. But because this is green, it said it's successfully completed. And now when I go to load the paper in again, just going to grab it, and it has actually stopped in the correct place. Now, again, a couple of things to note. If it still spits it out, it might be that the setting hasn't actually saved. So again, make sure that there's no error on here. Click apply settings again. Then also go into your main printer settings, back to general, and make sure that the stock that you've selected has the media form continuous paper black mark. Once you've done that, again, feed the paper in. It should stop in the right place. Okay, so the final, this isn't so much of an error, it's more a case of you're just getting some banding marks on the badge. Quite often if you have a really ink heavy badge with lots of colour, these printers are going to show up. You'll either have a bit of a white line or a bit of a like double inky line, which shows up. Now, there's no way of completely getting rid of this. A couple of things that you can go in and change. Firstly, if you have got a really clear quality image that you want to display, if you go into your printer settings, on the print quality, we've got it set up as speed. The main reason for this is you want to try and get as many attendees through as possible, as quickly as possible. Here you've got a few more different quality modes. This does slow down the printing a lot, but it does make the image a lot more clear. So if we go to set it to quality mode 2, that should get rid of any banding lines that you have on the badge paper itself. What you might also need to do is an actual head alignment. So this takes you into the printer utility settings, printer setting utility, and then in here, if we go to printer adjustment and then printer head alignment, and then we want to click the box to print an adjustment sheet, start the adjustment. Now this is going to print out a test page for us. And what that test page does is it gives you 5 different options where you can see that number 1 and number 2, the ink layers are further apart. Number 4 and number 5, the ink layers are closer together. So you're just picking from this box which has the best print in terms of alignment. So actually this printer, it's slightly out. I want it to be slightly closer, so I'm going to change it to number 4. So now that we've done the adjustment, I'll show you actually what a print is on quality 2 mode. So it is significantly slower. So we'll close out of this. So again, I'm just going to find my own badge. So yes, the image is a lot clearer. There isn't any banding on the badge, but it has taken a lot longer to print out. So just to compare that to on speed mode, if we go back onto here, again, print my badge. So the badge itself, quality mode, speed mode, quality badge does look a lot better, but the speed badge did come out a lot quicker. So it's, I suppose, down to your preference at your event. Do you want to get through attendees really quickly, or do you want to have a crystal clear image? So far we focused on printing individual badges. What if you want to do a big pre-print of lots of badges, or what if you want to do just the background? It's something that we do when we're printing on our other printers, our Zebra printers. We need to have background all pre-printed. So to do that, I'm going to go back into the printer settings. So printing preferences. And I'm actually going to create a brand new media setting. So I'm going to call this one Eco Preprint. So all the settings I'm going to keep exactly the same except for one. So this is the setting for paper handling after print. At the moment it's set to cut at every page. I don't want it to cut because I want all the print to come out in one long line. So I'm going to get it to set to the bottom one, which is no cut, no auto cut, stop at the print end position. Then I'm going to select it in the drop down menu. Now the first thing that we want to do, because whenever you're feeding paper in, you always lose that first print, so there's no point us printing on the first badge. So I'm actually going to feed one whole badge through. I'm then going to go onto here, and on the CMS it actually allows you to print the background only. So I'm going to click into that. And as you can see, on this badge we've actually got a generic QR code in here, but we haven't actually filled in any of the name text. So I'm going to get 10 copies. And I'm going to make sure in the more settings it is set up to eco, so that's all good. I'm going to click print. And what we should find is that it doesn't cut and it just carries on printing. And now what you can do is actually let the paper run off of the table and then it will just automatically fold itself back into the right position. I've also got this on speed mode. If you're doing lots of badges, it's a lot quicker to have it on speed mode. And once it's done the 10 badges, again, the last badge in any chain is also wasted, so there's no point wasting a printed badge. I'm going to press feed once. And then cut. And now I have a nicely fan-folded set of pre-printed badges ready for use in the Zebra. Now we could also pre-print a load of name badges if you want to print off all your like speaker badges. Sometimes it's easier, rather than individually cutting each one and ending with a pile of badges just on the floor, sometimes it's easier just to have it not cut and then you go through and you tear the badges off. But then you can, once you've set it printing, you can actually leave it. It's going to fold all the badges nicely for you, and then you can come back once it's done. That's everything I can show you on the C3500. If you've got the Zebra printer as well, check out our other video. If you want to see how we use these on site, have a look at our website. We put them in kiosks for printing. Otherwise, thank you for watching.